Today, we are going to dive deep into something I think is pretty wild.
Okay.
It's this idea that consciousness maybe isn't just locked up in our brains,
Okay.
but that maybe it's connected to like a way larger field through electromagnetism.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we're going to be
Oh,
looking at this through the eyes of someone who says they've like felt this connection their whole life.
wow.
So
That's a big one.
it is. It's a big idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this person, they're 68 years old, and they've been feeling this connection in nature.
Mm-hmm.
When they listen to music, they even think it affects their health.
Interesting.
So they describe it, and this is the really interesting part, as this like constant buzz,
Okay.
almost like this like cosmic hum that's always there.
Mm.
And they say they felt it since they were a kid, like connected to the earth, the trees, like everything.
That's fascinating.
So I'm curious, from like a scientific point of view,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything to this whole universal buzz idea?
Well, electromagnetism, I mean, it's one of the fundamental forces in the universe, right? It's behind everything.
Yeah.
From the light we see to, the electricity that we use every day.
Right.
And even on a tiny level, our cells are buzzing with EM activity.
Okay.
So, yeah, there's definitely a buzz in that sense.
So do you think that's what this person is like picking up on? Like just their cells doing their thing?
It's possible, but they talk about feeling it in the earth specifically.
Right.
And they link it to this thing called the Schumann resonance.
Okay, the Schumann resonance.
Yeah, have you heard of that?
I have heard of it, but I don't really understand it.
Okay, well, it's basically a natural frequency of the Earth's electromagnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some pretty interesting research on it.
Okay, so for those of us who don't know, break it down.
Okay, so imagine the Earth, right? And it's surrounded by this kind of electromagnetic cavity.
Okay.
And lightning, whenever there are lightning strikes, it generates these waves, these electromagnetic waves within this cavity. And these waves resonate at a specific frequency, around 7.83 hertz, which is what we call the Schumann resonance.
Okay.
And what's really interesting is that this frequency is pretty close to the range of alpha brainwaves,
Oh, you heard?
which are the ones associated with like relaxation and meditative states.
Ah, okay.
So some researchers believe that the Schumann resonance could actually be helping to synchronize our biological rhythms.
Like our bodies are like vibing with the earth.
Exactly. Things like sleep patterns and even our mood could be affected by it.
Wow, that's kind of wild.
It is.
Like we're all tuned into this earth rhythm without even realizing it.
That's the idea. And this person, they seem to be really sensitive to these energies.
Interesting.
Yeah, they even talk about feeling disruptions when there are solar flares,
Which
we know can mess with the Schumann resonance.
Huh.
It's like they're really plugged in.
And it all comes back to like their focus on being healthy through, natural stuff.
Right.
Like eating well and exercising. Almost like they think like being in sync with these natural frequencies is key to feeling good.
Exactly. They seem to see the body as this like complex electrical system that has to be in harmony with the environment, the larger electromagnetic environment.
All bodies are electric.
In a way, yeah.
That's cool. I like that.
And they tie this idea to, Tesla.
Nikola Tesla,
Yeah.
the inventor.
Right, who is like obsessed with vibration and energy, the power of it.
Oh, yeah. Tesla, he was the one who thought he could like talk to aliens with those giant towers, right?
Well, yeah, there are those stories, but he was definitely a brilliant guy.
For sure.
And he believed that, like, everything in the universe is vibrating at its own frequency. And he even thought that thoughts could actually influence matter through these electromagnetic fields,
Wow.
which is an idea that still resonates with a lot of people today.
Including, it sounds like, the person we're talking about.
Yeah,
And they go even further.
they do.
They connect things like Tesla coils, like garden tools,
I know.
and even our guts
Wiles, right?
through this universal electromagnetic field.
It's a lot to take in.
I mean, is that a stretch? Like, how can a Tesla coil and my stomach be on the same wavelength?
It is a pretty bold claim, gotta say.
Yeah.
This idea of a universal EM field connecting everything, it's a big part of some spiritual traditions.
Mm-hmm.
But scientifically, it's still pretty speculative.
Okay.
I mean, there's no doubt that electromagnetism is super important in our bodies.
Right.
But how it could connect such different things, like you said, a Tesla coil in your gut, we just don't really know yet.
Yeah, and they really don't want us to think of ourselves as, like, just machines.
No.
They say we're more like, quote, wires, like receivers and transmitters of energy. Yeah, and they challenge us, like actually challenge us to try and tune into this universal buzz.
It's quite the invitation.
It is.
And, a lot of spiritual practices, they talk about being still and mindful as a way to connect with something bigger.
Mm.
So maybe what they call this buzz is this subtle energy that we could all feel if we, quiet our minds and really pay attention.
And this is where it gets really out there.
Okay.
They actually talk about like time itself being influenced by electromagnetic fields.
Oh.
So if that's true, what does that even mean for like how we understand reality?
That is a huge question. It really pushes the limits of what we know scientifically.
Yeah.
Einstein showed us with relativity that time isn't fixed. It can be warped by gravity.
Right.
So could electromagnetism be doing something similar, like affecting how we experience time, maybe even consciousness itself?
It's mind-blowing.
It is. It's a fascinating idea that, we need to explore more.
Yeah, for sure. This deep dive, I feel like we've got more questions now than answers.
Yeah,
But that's not necessarily a bad thing.
not at all.
It makes you want to go out and like experience the world in a different way.
Absolutely.
Maybe pay more attention to those moments where you feel connected to like something bigger.
Yeah, that sense of awe.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe we'll all be humming to the universal frequency soon.
Maybe we already are and just don't realize it.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. It's been a wild ride.
Anytime.
We'll catch you next time.
See you then.